Hi, I'm Alex from the Southern Ukulele Store, and we're going to have some fun today. We're going to take a look at the larger bodied Pono ukuleles. For those of you that don't know, Pono make a range of ukuleles known as ULN or UL4s. This is kind of an ultra large baritone, so almost tenor guitar size, perhaps just a touch smaller. And then you have the BN series, which is the big bodied baritone, the huge baritone, that's almost like a tiny parlour guitar, but a ukulele. If you're interested, you're going to enjoy today's video. I made one of these about 4 years ago about the original incarnation of this series, and since then pretty much every single model name and number and spec has changed, so we're going to do the video again today. We're going to start with the UL series, which is the steel string baritones, move on to the nylon string versions, and then finally look at the Big Daddy at the end. Let's start right now though with the UL4-2 and the UL4-3. First up today, we're going to take a look at the Pono UL4-2. And the first question you're going to have is, how much bigger than a normal baritone is it? Well, I have a normal baritone here. I'm going to put them next to each other, and as you see, as I lift, the baritone body on the Pono is approximately 2 inches longer. Not really any wider, and the scale length of the two instruments is the same, so it's a normal scale length baritone but with an elongated body. The effect is a kind of squashed look. This looks like a concert ukulele body shape but in a baritone size, if that makes sense, whereas normally the tenor would just be a little bit chunkier around the edges, a bit like me. This UL4-2 is a cedar top with mahogany back and sides, all solid woods, with just a tiny bit of decoration. You have a rope rosette there around the sound hole, and front and back ebony bindings. You have a gloss finish like you would with a Pono Deluxe ukulele, but with a satin neck. Pono's head plate is also gloss, and it has the Pono logo there, and on the back you have these open back Grover tuners. And one thing to note is that it's a pin bridge, because you're using steel strings. It'd be much harder to do anything with a different type of bridge without damaging the bridge long term, so a pin bridge is the sensible option. The UL4 series also come with a hard case, which is handy because with a body shape this unique, I think you'd really struggle to find a fitted case. This ukulele still has a 35mm nut width, a la all of the other Pono ukuleles out there, but the steel strings being slightly thinner make it feel like there's a slightly wider string spacing. The neck is pretty standard Pono, you know, there's nothing really different about the neck, but the body does feel a bit more guitar-like. You know, it's reinforced for steel strings, so it doesn't feel as light and as fluffy as a normal baritone ukulele. Let's give the UL4-2 a play and see what you think. Next, let's say we're going to be taking a look at the ukulele that I think Pono have really kind of broken the mould with. This is the UL4-3. The UL4-3 is the first kind of mango version of this ukulele that I have seen, and they've used really lovely straight grained mango gloss finish to kind of make everything look a bit more sexy. But you still have that rope rosette and the ebony front and back bindings. It feels like a Pono Pro Classic, which is a really lovely compliment to pay it, because it's actually no more expensive than the Pono Pro Classic series was, but it is quite a bit bigger, so you'd expect it to be. Ebony fingerboard and bridge, once again with the Pono headstock and the open back Grover tuners. 35mm nut width and the pin bridge and reinforced top for the steel strings. This one's actually lighter than the cedar and mahogany one next to me, which could be an indicator of all of them, or it could just be these particular two. But it's the one I'm most excited to hear. I've not actually heard this ukulele ever be played. I'm about to play it for the first time for you folks on camera. So let's give the UL4-3 a play and see what we think. Let's move on now and talk about the ULN4 series. So it's exactly the same, and that N in the code stands for nylon. Really the only spec difference between this and the steel string instrument of note is that the classical style nylon instrument comes with a slotted headstock. So the slotted headstock has the same Grover tuners, but albeit, you know, redesigned for the slotted headstock with a longer post, and they are gold. It still has a 35mm nut width, but a noticeably chunkier neck in this first position. Not that it's particularly chunky, it's just this is more like what you expect from a Pono baritone. You have an all solid cedar top on both models. The difference between the ULN4-1 and the ULN4-2 is the back and sides. On the ULN4-1, it's acacia, so this has an acacia back and sides, much like the Pono ATD or the Deluxe Acacia series. You still have the rope rosette on both with the ebony bindings, ebony fingerboard and bridge, and it's a tie-on bridge on this because it's a classical style ukulele. And then that ULN4-2, you know, much the same spec but with mahogany back and sides. They've actually used a really nice piece of mahogany on this. I'd be really happy with this if it was me, but I like the quirkier looking woods. This looks more like a kind of luxury mahogany than you normally get with a Pono. Still the cedar top, still the same rope rosette, ebony bindings, ebony fingerboard and bridge with the tie-on bridge, slotted headstock with the gold tuners, and the chunkier neck profile is in place on this as well. So I'm going to play the ULN4-1 and then the ULN4-2 for you now, and then we'll be back to have a look at the Big Daddy BN4-1. Before I start, one thing I did fail to mention is that these have a slight radius to them. I didn't notice until I went to play it, but yeah, there's a definite radius, like a curve to the fingerboard on these. Okay, the final two ukuleles we're going to look at today. It feels silly calling them ukuleles. They're so much bigger than a standard ukulele. This is the BN4 series, and the BN4 series really is more like a parlour guitar sized ukulele. So if you imagine the ukulele family went sopraninos, various, soprano, concert, tenor, baritone, and then you moved on to the tenor guitar and then the parlour guitar, and in the middle you've got the UL4 series, and now you have this BN4 series. If you're looking for context about how big the BN4s are, I'm going to put them next to a normal baritone. So there's a baritone in this hand, and there is a BN4. So if I was to put them next to each other, I want to do this as carefully as possible, and then turn them to face you, you can see that the instrument behind is just, I mean, probably 20% bigger. And why would you have this in the band? Well, if you want a nylon, classical guitar style ukulele, but you don't want the 6 strings and that thick neck, then this is a great choice. If you play in a group of lots of other ukulele players and you want a different sound, this is a great choice. If you're someone who needs a longer scale length, you play lots of fingerstyle, you want more sustain, perhaps you want the ukulele to sound like a guitar, there's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of how a lot of people view the ukulele, and this serves that purpose very, very well. And the BN4-1 and BN4-2 share the same spec differences as the previous instruments. So you have a solid cedar top with a rope rosette, front and back ebony bindings with acacia. This is another lovely acacia instrument here, with a tie-on bridge a la other Pono ukuleles. But you do have a slotted headstock on this model with the Grover tuners. And actually the neck in context feels smaller on this than on the ULN4 series. It's probably exactly the same, but because the rest of it's bigger, it feels kind of more natural. Still a 35mm nut width, so a narrower string spacing, but a massive instrument. So this is going to be perfect out there for lots of people that just can't get on with the guitar, but they want that long-term sound. What else is there to tell you? Ebony fingerboard and bridge. These come with a hard case as well, thank goodness, because you wouldn't want to be trying to search for a hard case to fit these. And the difference between the two is one is acacia, the BN4-1 is acacia, and the BN4-2 is mahogany back and sides. Much more what you expect from mahogany on this, straight grain. And yeah, cedar top, you get it, all of those lovely things. Some of you out there are going to be looking for clarification about what's changed on this series, why I'm making this video again. If you go back and look through the past history of these instruments, the BN4 series were normally a kind of solid type of wood. So the BN4-1 was solid acacia, there was no cedar top. And the BN4-2 was solid mahogany, there was no cedar top. But they made some special edition models that were more popular than the originals. That was the case with the UL4 series as well. The cedar top one used to be a UL4-20. Now they just come with a cedar top as standard, other than the mango model. I think that about wraps all of that up. Let's play the BN4-1 and the BN4-2 and see what you think. Well, that wraps it up, folks. We've looked at large baritones, extra large baritones and steel string baritones, but which was your favourite? Please do get in touch if you have any questions, 01202 430 820, or email me at alex@ukulele.co.uk. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.